It's not the return of the king, it's the return of the desk for the fourth game.
It's the return of the Dane.
The Dane, I was going for that one, she stole it away. Okay, welcome back, Goldberg.
Thank you very much. Excited to be here. And we got bangers coming up as well. We've had 3 good games today, and I thought the 2 more are going to follow up with that.
It's Singularity coming up, so it's definitely going to be a banger.
Oh, yeah.
Do we have Italy?
Please.
I mean,
I think it's
It's not gonna happen.
It's gonna be the giga. Okay, it's gonna be the giga move of the century
Leaving
if Op
Italy.
first picks Italy into MC. Legitimately.
Yeah, that could happen. Jeppe, the support of Singularity, literally tweeted out today, like a little riddle, like something's green today is going to ban in Italy. Like something along those lines.
Oh, a little riddle.
Oh, yes, exactly. So I don't, either it'll be first pick like a cheeky little thing, or we're probably just going to be seeing it banned again. So I'd assume that. I think Singularity is a team where, you know, they've had a substitute in with their mid laner now, Dragana coming in instead of the Muda. It's probably just a team that kind of needs to find some sort of thing to rebuild around. Just get one thing you can play for. That's really what this team needs at this point.
Honestly, I saw that they put a statement out on Twitter as well, where they were like, we just needed more leadership. This is why we brought Dragane in. And to be quite fair, even though we were we criticized a lot the draft from Singularity because it was so difficult to play around with the Nidalee and the Graves together.
She even came out and apologized for that.
Absolutely, and that's totally fine, right? I felt that the shot calling that was happening in Singularity was actually pretty good. The way they were playing the game, the way they were playing around the fights. Yeah. So it seems like Dragane did bring something new into the team, but something that is not new and something that is very old as time versus MC is banning the Nidalee.
Yeah, I mean, it
makes
happens
sense.
okay?
Yeah.
Once upon a time, we get an Italy, and then for 1,000 years, it'll never happen again. It's kind of part of the prophecy. It happens every now and then. What's up?
Rumble time?
No, it's not going to happen either. That was
I can jump on that boat.
Too.
Yeah, I can go on that train. I want to see the rumble. I want to see the rumble. But Branekton is going to be removed as well. So Kex not being allowed to play that one. Zeri and Thresh, that's the bot lane. We still have the B1 Jinx,
So yeah, the meta today has really been banning Aphelios and Third to kind of prioritize with like, okay, either you ban the Jinx here yourself, we take it, and you don't get to have that kind of hyper carry to play for, which is why we've also seen so many Caitlyn's today, because Aphelios has just been taken away from that table. Now, B1 Jinx can still happen. Most often we just see it traded with Aphelios, but I was actually the biggest fan of seeing M&M today finally bring back the 6 again, just kind of to neutralize it as well. And now Gwen off the table, and yes, get it out. Just look at that binocular. Oh, it's not going to happen. It's just going to be nice instead.
I actually prefer that much more than the Jigs B1 right here, because this sort of stabilizes every single draft there is. Again, we've talked about it. I think it's a joker in every draft to have a Zinza, can protect, can attack. Everything goes great. Now, the Aphelios Lulu wouldn't be a surprise to see being picked here, because having those steroids from the Lulu on a late game Aphelios is going to be really strong. But instead, MC will reply with his Lee Sin.
I know. The thing is, every time I see MC with Lee Sin, I'm just thinking I have trouble right next to me. And for the record, she's a bigger fan of MC and AP junglers.
That's not my problem here. I'm like, you're allowing the Lulu to go to the dark side, you know? Like, Lulu Caitlyn is also pretty strong lane. We're gonna see, what is that? The third Caitlyn Karma lane in a row, which is extremely oppressive. So I'm thinking this is what they were waiting to see first, right? Are you gonna pick the Jinx, or are you gonna pick the Caitlyn here, and then they're going to lock in the Lulu anyway.
Already creates a bot lane that's going to be difficult to play for from the side of Riddle, because even if you lock in the Lulu here, you're not going to win lane. Essentially, your Aphelios and your Lulu is designed now to be a lane that can just kind of hold on in the laning phase, stay as even as possible, and then be a threat in the late game. For that to matter, now you need engage tools as well. You need something that can get backline access, or at least a long ultimate like Dion, for example, to get attack, touch rather, on the long range carry like Caitlyn and like Karma.
So I think what is in Riddle's mind right here, they're probably going to put Kex on something that's weak side, something like a Gragas, something like an Ornn in the top side of the map, that you're able to engage and reach the backline that Caitlyn is together with the Karma. And probably keep your last pick for slow queue, right? Because you want that mid-jungle synergy to work with Lee Sin. Lee Sin is a very early game aggressive jungler. You want to start creating these plays early on. So you need something like a Syndra next to you. You need something like a LeBlanc next to you, which has been banned. So my head literally goes straight to Syndra. I'm like, slow queue Syndra could be something that we can see right here. Slow queue Akali could be something that we can see right here. Works really well with Lee Sin. Ninja together with Ninja. Never mind, Akali's been banned.
And when you see Camille ban, it kind of already screams, okay, we want something that's going to be a tag. We don't want to be able to shred through it. Gangplank could be a ban that could come out as well against the likes of Tattoo.
Don't forget his Wukong as well.
Yeah, I think Wukong is more easy to deal with when you're on a champion that can just stack AD, and already now, like if you lock in Wukong, Malphite has super high value, for example. So I think it's going to come down to just a weak side ban here. Oh, they're actually going to target the mid lane in this instance, which just make it a bit interesting, because that does tell me the story that either they don't play Ryze themselves, they don't want to pick it, or they want to fourth pick their mid laner, where Ryze is a seemable counter to what they have mined.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing here. Do you want to give Kex the counter pick? In which case, do you want to play an AP top laner? Because I'm trying to dig deep into my brain right here, and I'm like, okay, AP top laner. The one thing that I can think about right now is probably Vladimir or something of that sort that you want to play towards top side. Because I just need something strong that plays together with that Lee Sin around the map, and they bundle up as a duo to take over Singularity. Yeah, okay, so it is going to be fourth picking a very safe weak side top lane like the Ornn, like the Gragas as we mentioned, and then going more on the aggressive side when it comes to R5 or slow queue, maybe something like a
Here's the thing though, you only have lanes currently on the map that's probably going to be pushed in. I'm assuming that Singularity is going to be able to get a pick that either just even or gets pushed in with the Ornn, which means essentially you can't play through top side. You can't possibly play through bot side. I think it's mostly going to be about stabilizing the Aphelios and Lulu. You need a mid lane with priority to essentially to attack this Caitlyn. And if that's not happening...
I saw Katarina hover. I saw Katarina hover.
Okay, let it be a hover.
This is the closest I'm going to get to seeing Katarina.
I think he's literally just hovering your guys' champions. Archram, have a look, because that is for you.
Wait, why is he staying on Pantheon more than he's staying on Katarina? What is this
He's not even hovering
just
my
teasing.
champions.
They're just teasing me. Why?
Ooh, I love the takeaway.
It's painful.
I love the takeaway of the Syndra here, because I feel like Lee Sin Syndra is one of the strongest duos we can see. And I'm sitting here wondering what a slog you have in the bag, because you can play the Orianna into the Syndra. Yes, does that make it a very strong duo together with the Lee Sin? Not necessarily. No, I think the Syndra Zinzao is much stronger. I do not want to see the Xerath ever again, because it doesn't necessarily allow Lee Sin to roam.
So this is difficult, okay? Because now you have a lane that doesn't have priority in the early game either. This is something that's, again, outside of lanes. Essentially, all of Riddle's composition right here is going to be outside our lane. You duel Lee Sin with Xiao in the early game, Sin Sao wins. You duel in the early game with the Syndra and you have that stun, the Syndra wins. You duel down towards the bot side, there's bigger range, bot lane wins. So for Singularity, they came off last Monday with an absolutely horrible draft. Horrendous. This time around, they've picked up their pieces. They've come in with a different game plan where you can play through the bot side and the mid lane. You have a disengaging/engaging topsider, and now on the side of Riddle, you need to survive laning phase. You need to stay as even as you can to have any leverage in the mid to late game.
I agree. This is going to be a very scaling Riddle on the other side, and I'm like, you have a Lee Sin. Your Lee Sin has to do something. I think the job for MC right here will be scouting Pop, making sure that Pop cannot pressure the advantage down the bot lane as well, because the Caitlyn lane needs to snowball. Again, we've said it over and over again. If a Caitlyn lane falls behind, it is very difficult to get back into the game, because you need to be ahead to start snowballing all of these towers. So I completely agree with you. I really like the Singularity composition. If they manage to play the perfect front to back, I think they have more than a chance to win the game.
And I agree with Trouble agreeing with me, so I'm just going to throw it to you so you can throw it to the casters.
Do you agree with me agreeing with Gulbok, who agreed with, or was it?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't agree with anyone, but I agree that Singularity are looking for the early game, for the dominance, and on the other side, Riddle are looking for the late game. They're looking to scale. They're looking for the hyper carries. And I'm looking for the caster's desk to see Hiprain and Nymera.
Do you agree?
I'm going to be honest with you.
I am
no really confused.
I think that actually broke down into the old to me, to you, to me, to you.
You got the Chuckle Brothers over there. Yeah, so first time casting together in person, mate. How you doing?
First time in person, yeah. The last time we cast together was EU Masters quarterfinals. It's been a little while since then. And I'm doing great. I'm doing great. And we get actually a pretty interesting game here as well. Both these teams have decided to go straight down the gullet in terms of front to back.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually leverage off, leapfrog off of what Trouble said in terms of Jin Zhao. He attack, he protect, he attack. He also front to back.
I like that. That's
so
good.
We get ourselves some great 5v5s. We get to stretch the vocal cords again. Let's have 5 crazy games.
I've literally had 3 absolutely bonkers games so far. And during the champ select, Nymera looks over to me and goes, "We're gonna have some big old fights." And I'm like, "Yes, that's what I want. I love it." Do you reckon we're gonna have any early action, or do you think it's just gonna be chill till mid game and then just pummel each other?
So I think Lee Sin's the one person who has big agency in that regard. Are we gonna have early action? Well, the first thing I thought was, wow. great big front to backs. This is going to be a great game if it's ever structured. But then you go back to the game on Monday, which Singularity had, and it was anything but that. I'd love to see this get to those team fights, see how far the cohesion of these teams has really developed over this split, because we know that Singularity have struggled there with that. Riddle have also...
Struggled, to put it lightly.
Yes, and then, of course, on the other side, Riddle have struggled in their own ways of getting everyone on the same page at once. So there's every chance that while these team comps scream one thing, it is going to completely break down and be something completely the opposite.
Well, we'll keep our eyes on that. Let's see. Just a pretty standard start. No, we haven't really had any early game stuff all week, actually.
No, I mean, there was briefly in game 1 or 2 the whole Enchanter versus Enchanter was like, ooh, we will go and fight for that bot lane middle brush. And actually, you can see a ward down there straight in the middle one.
Yeah.
Because that helps kind of get control of the lane. You can fire skill shots out of Fog of War. Also really important as hook champions, all of that. But like, it's such a minor thing. Occasionally, you'll see like teams like Stackers 5 and go for it. But that's kind of once in a blue moon. Not going to get that today. So we get to have a bit more of a labored start, a leisurely start to this cruise.
A relaxed start.
Yeah.
A moment where, you know, we're on the roller coaster, and this is the point where we're going slowly up. You get that click, 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 and then we'll have Manic screaming.
There we go. Just
in a moment.
don't look down. You will see a 0-10 start if you look down.
A 0-11, mate.
Yeah.
This roller coaster is higher than you think. But we are taking off on to the beginning of this game. Both junglers starting up on their top side, which does mean they are clearing downwards, so we could potentially see some early action around there. I do expect to see the Xin Zhao and the Lee Sin wanting to have some early agency. Sure. Like you said, that's kind of what both these champions do, especially the Lee Sin. Xin Zhao obviously does have still pretty good team fighting later on, but Lee Sin especially, he wants to be making stuff happen.
And particularly with these support matchups too. This happened effectively halfway through Worlds. People realized, hang on, aren't Enchanters super broken? And they thought, right, can't really leave those 2v2s alone. That's just going to mean that we lose out very passively, particularly when you have like the Caitlyn Karma, which just, you know, it just trades against you for free, gets huge CS advantages. So the junglers try and break the momentum of that, blah, blah, blah. We've seen that for a while now, but because both junglers know that, it's kind of the, you know, like the next level, where like, it's like, I know that you know, but you know that I know that you know, so then you kind of have this back and forth and you hope that you're kind of one step ahead of them to call their bluff. Right now, it does seem like that's completely neutralized all this early aggression, but I love what SMG are doing right now. Trouble was talking about a lot of this ability for the Lee Sin to impact the game is going to be about tracking the enemy jungler. Instead, he's the one that's given over information early.
Yeah, Jeppe spots him out with the Inner Flame, sees him, Meteor procs, knows exactly what's going on there. It's actually the first Aphelios of the day as well. We've had a lot of priority on the Jinx, the Zeri, and things like that. But actually, Aphelios has been pretty much banned consistently throughout the first 3 games of today as well. So it's nice to see, you know, a bit of a return to that champion. I know that you are
a big
connoisseur of the guns and the rotations.
And we have so many good Aphelios players in the NLC as well. Fatshan being one of them. Actually, in our game next as well, we've got Azator, who's just incredible there, and Nata. So honestly, probably maybe even our 3 best Aphelios players are in our last 2 games. We get to go through that a little bit more. And we'll be tracking that as the game goes on. Lots of ways to see how those weapons play out currently. I see Faston trying to trade with, it's actually done that a couple of times on screen right now, trading with the Severum Onslaught. That's the cue to get the press the attack down very early, and that's obviously very big burst trades. Not really led to anything though, because again, at the end of the day, it is Caitlyn Karma. Even if you trade well, it's still into an impervious lane.
Yes, absolutely. Well, this is, you know, Caitlyn Karma, they just want to shove. They just want to get plates. They just want to kind of get that big gold lead. And so far, you know, it's pretty equal in this bot side of the map, but Vatican quite happy just to hold on down there for himself. Top lane, I expect it to be fairly quiet. It's Gragas, yeah. He's the king of the weak side. It's Ornn, also probably king of the weak side, but also has some fighting and dueling potential. Was it at the beginning of today where we saw an almost solo kill at level 1?
It was Aleph versus it was Aleph on the Gragas.
Yeah.
And then they blew their flash, and it was like a bit dark days to them in the early game. But it's dark days in the bot lane.
Nukes is ignited. The headshot. The first blood to Nukes.
Out of nowhere. And, you know, as much as we have praised Fastion and Nukes for so often being a dominant laning side, it feels like it is forever the Riddle curse that while one player is on, the other one is pulling in the other direction. Spikey had that great game early on.
Well, he gets the tether off, but I don't think there's really going to be any follow-up. Fatcan doesn't actually have any mana, so can't use that Graviton. But let's have a look at this fight again, because it caught us both off guard.
Yeah, because, we're just at the start of the roller coaster. No, we have some in-flight turbulence immediately. And, I mean, this is just Jeppe getting this 2 parts of the route. And I know that we've both cast Jeppe for a little while. He's definitely been a streaky player, but he's always been aggressive, always been creative, and finds a very important kill here, because if you get kills against this Aphelios Lulu to the point where they can't actually stay in lane and they can't push up or contest at all, very dangerous side of Riddle, because this is the one lane with real agency that they want to be playing around.
It's funny, every time I see mid lane, Slowq's eating a scatter the week and just taking an unfavorable trade. That hasn't actually really cost too much to Slowq. Equal in farm, quite happy, but Dragain consistently landing those.
We are both mid laners by trade. We both know what happens when you take inspiration and you have a teleport. It just, as much as laning phase has become so important, it really hasn't for a lot of mages, because you've got, unless you've got a really hyper ganking jungler that's coming mid, like the Nunu we saw earlier, or a Jarvan, you get a lot of room for maneuver in that mid lane. Yes, you can occasionally give up a wave if you are particularly far behind, but on the whole, unless you're against M&S, your solo kill threat is rather low. So yeah, they're just kind of waiting to get to their first, second item spikes until they really start partaking proceedings. And then we already talked about top lane doing the same thing, which is obviously, again, why the camera has kept going towards that bot side.
Hold on.
What am I talking about?
Taking the ultimate, he's going to get the damage in. What? These kills just keep happening completely off guard. We're just not prepared for them.
Okay, so normally there is a certain rhythm to things where we get a certain amount of time. We're like, oh, we can talk about this. These are completely out of the blue. This shouldn't be happening on these timers. Shouldn't be happening in the way that they are. But the level 6 happens. Tatui really punishing Kex. They're punching back into the tower. Minions aren't underneath it. Gets 2 turret shots for free. I mean, very well punished.
Yeah, really, really nice punish there. Just gets the Gragas insect. Slightly lazier. But lovely stuff from him there. And Tatui, you know, we were saying this is a weak sider, but today has been the day of Gragas. I was saying this at the end of the last game. We have had so many Gragas just pop off and really carry fights and teams. Getting ahead on Gragas is just going to make that even more powerful, even more oppressive to deal with. As Porp is in the area, making sure that his bot lane are comfortable to shove in this wave.
It's the Porp daycare. I mean, this is something which Malorang in the LEC does a lot. Of course, he's been in the spotlight. If you clear your camps towards a pushing lane, so you can just reset there as the time that they want to reset to, or like when they're pushing the last wave out, it just has that extra degree of safety without actually losing that much. It's a very efficient way to back up your lanes. And as we can see here, the bot lane of Singularity has themselves that kill, has themselves a couple of plays. And dare I say it, this might be the best laning phase that Singularity have shown this entire split.
I think that's a very fair thing to say, because let's be real, they're 0-11. Yeah. No, you're completely right though. This is a really, really impressive laning phase from them so far. We're only 7 minutes in, so we don't want to call it quite yet, but I am impressed from the Singularity. This doesn't look like a 0-11 team. This looks like a team, you know, yes, they've been struggling, but they are still, you know, they're showing off here. They're coming up, and they need to start finding some good wins.
Need to find some inspiration, yeah. They need to find something to get the train back on the rails, or actually onto the rails for the first time, as we were saying. But I think the most impressive thing about this from the side of Singularity is that it feels like it's a series of individual victories. They've occasionally had some power plays early on, through the likes of the Jin Zhao, picking someone off, getting some big rotations around the map. But this is just straight brawling and winning through lane. That's not something we've seen from this team yet. Of course, on the other side, Riddle, we know that they really do come alive when they do have 1 or 2 members really standing out and being counted for. We haven't seen anyone really have the position to do that just yet. Let's wait until the first team fight. But as it happens, they had to give up that first Herald. They've given up the first Dragon. If you leave it too much longer, there is a worry of a significant snowball for the Kate Karma and the Syndra, which would love to play with the extra golden hand.
Yeah, they're looking to put a trap down. Oh, they got a lot off there onto MC. Gonna get tethered up. Tries to get off on the blast cone. If they alter that blast, he's gonna go down, but no, he flashes out to safety. And MC is out of there. Does secure the red buff, but costs him his flash. Dare I say, this might be the most structured game we've seen from Singularity. I'm just throwing your words back at you now.
But isn't that so important? Because both of these teams, at some point in the game, will want to do exactly the same thing. Brief flanking threat either from a Lee Sin or a Gragas. Speaking of, that potentially has that there, but it's just going to be a Brittle Croc traded. That'll be it. But this is kind of what we're seeing, right? Front to back with slight flank threat, which means that both teams are going to have to track their early game leads very, very importantly, because if you're trying to come up and like square up to an even fight, the other team with more gold is just going to do everything you want to do, but better.
Absolutely. Looks like Porp is maybe looking to set up and enable this bot lane a little bit more. They've had a great start, but if you can start to get some plates, get some additional gold, that can be that catalyst that snowballs Singularity's bot lane a little further forward. Porp sneaking in to this bush, and he's just going to hold it for the moment. We'll see if he decides to hang around. They are going to be able to pick up at least a plate here, I think, from Spike.
But you
That's the
pick
headshot.
up, you pick up like another half of the plate, another good wave, and suddenly that's a Herald into a full turret down. And then you unlock this bot lane. You can maybe even shove the Gragas down there, switch up the map. You still got 4 minutes until plate's full. Potential of a real high roll from the side of Singularity for that for the early gold to come in.
Yeah, Tatooine actually chasing Kex here. He's got the flash, he's got the belly bop. Gonna go for it! And Kex is down. Tatooine, beautiful kill. And this is what you're talking about in the bot lane. Using the Herald, unlocking the tower, all the plates over to the Caitlyn. This is an impressive start from Singularity, and it's an impressive start at the same time.
They're winning on both sides of the map. This is not just a Singularity, it's a duality of laning phases at this point. Welcome to the new form of this team. And I mean, now they are 2,500 gold up. It's gold onto important members. It's this bot lane of Riddle not being unlocked across the map. It's not the Aphelios Lulu surviving the way that they wanted to. Yes, they're still fine in CS, but Riddle need to find a point to stabilize now because this is a lot of early gold, which they really do not want to contend with.
Absolutely. Really, really lovely stuff coming in from Singularity. We'll see where the rotation takes them. Dragon's actually been started up by the side of Riddle, but I think Singularity, they're feeling it now. I don't think they really want to give this up.
I don't know if they want to fight this. They want to arrive to the objective first as half HP, but they are going for it.
Oh, he's got the Wind Becomes Lightning, he's got the charge, and I think with Dragain coming up with an orb in hand, it's an easy Dragon for Singularity. Dragon number 2 for them, and I believe this is actually going to be a Hextech Soul
that's a high roll as well.
This is the high roll.
I mean, Dragain just walks in and he's just, oh no, he's pondering his orb. We'd best get out of here because that stun on the flank would have been absolutely disastrous for them. Lee Sin does have that early window of power versus the Jin's out. Potentially, as we said, has the ability to kick a carry in later, but at this point, when you have your level 6s unlocked, when you are going for the bigger group fights, of course, Porp is actually going to be in a better position at that point. In Singularity, they're on the same page, they're playing around the power spikes, and Riddle, I mean, we keep saying it, we keep pushing the narrative, but they're in some serious trouble here.
Yeah, they really are. Tatooine got that Chem Tank as well finished up, so first Mythic is on the board. There's a pretty nice amount of gold onto Spike. I'd actually like to have a look at the individual gold and see where it's sitting because, yeah, it's a 1,000 gold lead for Spike over Vatican.
It is, and that, of course, is going to lead to Mythic versus no Mythic, potential second item coming in too. Ooh. MC looking to find something in the top lane. Remember that Flash was committed to the solo kill earlier, but Tatooine not going to be caught out just yet. This is a really important phase of play, though. Why is it important to shut down Caitlyn early? If you take this many plates, they get to siege everywhere. Victor doesn't have the best wave clear yet. One Syndra stun lands, that's Lulu ult blown. That's going to be a lot of extra ability to go into the enemy jungle. Singularity, not just taking plates, they're taking enemy jungle camps. They're denying minions under turret. This is a very large series of collateral damage being dealt to the side of Riddle.
Yeah, it's just a bad laning phase snowballing into the other lanes mid-laning phase. It's really, really rough for Slowq. Obviously, has at least got one of those augment upgrades as the laser beams there, but even so, it's very rough for Riddle right now. I think we're probably going to see Spike go back to base, get that Gale Force finished up. That's another Mythic on the board for the side of Singularity. Dragain should be fairly close towards that Luden's Echo as well. And man, Riddle probably scratching their heads here a little bit. So let's try and answer that question. What do they need to do?
So the first thing I would have said is maybe you can look through playing through top, buy a wave for them to come mid and then break the siege there. But because Tatooine's been doing so well, that's not been an available option. Well, maybe you get the Lee Sin to do the same thing. I mean, you just saw Porp on the enemy Raptors, right? Again, really hard to do that. Most of the kind of the route one answers to what I would suggest Riddle are doing have already been cut off very quickly at the pass by Singularity. Maybe if we have some lane assignment swap-ups from Singularity, they can work in and around that kind of weave at that point and say, okay, maybe we can find an uneven numbers across there. But Singularity, like we said, already pushed down that one outer turret, allows them to play on less lanes which are pushing. They don't need to push in all 3 lanes at once because they've already taken that one outer turret. They've got the gold from that lane. They have almost got to this very dangerous point where they can almost permanently group up, and Riddle will struggle a lot to fight them face up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well, you know,
you notice how I didn't answer how Riddle could come back because I couldn't think of anything.
It's a line that Jamada has always sit with me when I said, how did they come back? And he said, turn to religion. Because I think that's kind of where Riddle are at. It's going to be a hard one for them. I don't think it's completely over. I mean, the gold lead is 3,000.
They have the weapon of the faithful. They have Aphelios. That's a good start.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but like, it's a 3,000 gold lead, yes. It's 14 minutes in, yes. But it is Singularity. This is the team at the bottom of the table. So there is hope for Riddle. We'll just have to see, you know, if Singularity have really kind of got themselves together, kind of got themselves and got their headspace out of whatever slump they were in. Because if not, this is going to be hard to turn around. Slow Q has still got Flash, going to put down the ulti, not the ulti, the W for the moment as NC comes in with the insect into Jeppe. The Ornhorn's being thrown down and 3 members knocked up, but Porp zoning the Riddle members out. Nobody's going to go down. Singularity, though, little bit of a misstep from them.
A little bit, but you look on the other side, and that's still Ornn blown. That's the MC Lee Sin all blown as well. You know the first two things, which I was like, oh, maybe you can go in with the Lee Sin or the Ornn into the mid lane, try and upset someone, kick them back into the team, get that long range engage on there. Well, they've just blown both those things. That means that for the next minute, next 2 minutes, Singularity, pretty scot-free to do that. Victor also lost his flash. I will take the support flash for the mid flash in the current game state at any time in this game. I think Singularity walk away from that blowing maybe more in terms of the ultimates and misstepping a little, but I think they come away a little better for wear.
I mean, the ult economy favors Singularity because if you look in the top left of the screen, 30 seconds until the next dragon spawns. That'll be dragon number 3 for Singularity, so this is an important one. Ornhorn will not be up in time. It will be coming up around the end of the dragon dying if it starts immediately on spawn. Lee Sin kick should be up and he will have flash, but the big one is the one you hit on, Slow Q's flash being down. And also looking at the items, they're starting to hit on some really big stuff here.
And also they have the counterweight Herald too. Half health on the mid lane turret, they get that second Herald in. This is maximum value out of both Heralds actually, in my view of how Herald should be used. First one to get all the plays, get first turret. Second one to finish off that mid lane outer turret. This is perfect for Caitlyn, it's perfect for stacking dragons. They're gonna get themselves a very early soul point, 17 minutes in, second charge. Singularity, this is textbook. But where have they put all their school books for the rest of the split? This is a completely different version of this team.
This is my big brother's playing now. Dragane does take the kick, but they're not going to follow up onto anything there. But this is not looking like a 0-11 team. This is looking like a reformed Singularity. They have found their flavor. They've found their jive. They're going to be able to pick up this dragon. That's dragon number 3, soul point. We are looking at a very early Hextech Soul, and you said when that came up as the Soul, they've high-rolled.
It is, because you hit one Caitlyn ult or a Karma Q, which already has that slow. You already outrange in a lot of your rolls. Like, that extra slow means that you cannot disengage at that point. You only have one Lulu Whimsy. You only got one set of summoners per person as well. Plus, the extra damage is not to be sniffed at by that same kind of point of power. Singularity have that very earliest play into, and this is the point where they can legitimately flip every objective from this point and still probably have a winning scenario in this game. That is super dangerous in Riddle. You are at the point where you need to start wishing for miracle plays.
I'm just taking a look at the gold on the map right now, and it's actually, you know, Riddle, they're not massively far behind. It feels like Singularity, yes, they're being very oppressive. They seem to have a lot of control on the map, but it has only resulted in 3 towers and 3 kills. Obviously, the dragons are a really big thing, and when that soul comes in, that does add like a lot of gold, like pseudo gold, so to speak. But even so, Riddle aren't so far behind that they can't win a good fight.
No, but the way they have to approach the fight is going to be a little bit scuffed. They have one ward past the middle point of the map, and that's that one on screen right there. It's sat right in the mid lane. They don't have a way to check if their flanks are currently unwarded. Both sides of the river are completely on lockdown for Singularity, and they've already taken everything up to the mid-inner here. They don't need to sit and siege for a very long time. Singularity now have a very easy way to play the game, and actually what you can do, you can shove up mid-wave and then go through the bush at the back of Raptor Camp to kind of secure priority for free. They can just keep doing that over and over, and Riddle will have to invest a lot of time into sweeping out wards every single time they do that. This, of course, leaves this top lane outer turret completely on its lonesome. Singularity have a chokehold on the vision and territory across the map. They've lost one tower on that top side, but Riddle haven't really been able to return to that point to use that for anything. They haven't used it to get any vision down. Riddle, at least at this point, do get damage onto mid tower. This is a breath of fresh air for them.
Yes, but that tier 1 falling in the top side means all tier 1s are down. The map is open up massively because both mid lane towers are down. This now means Singularity can go place as aggressive wards as they like and not really have to worry about being punished as hard because they don't have to worry about accidentally walking into a tower or anything like that. Kex,
look, they have wards down,
bro. You can't take it yet.
There's that, but this is actually an important thing that which the observers are saying, kind of pointing out here. As much as Singularity had a very dominant phase of play, you're right at pointing out that gold. It is only 3,000, and suddenly you have some wards around that back of Dragon Pit, which of course you do have your double teleports being available. Of course, Cactus got the exhaust, so we can't use that right now. But it's the start of something for Riddle. It's a staging point. Now, Singularity, They need to make sure that they're calm, they're collected, that they're still grouping up, they're not going on their lonesome. Because it's really when they're split that maybe the Lee Sin can come up with a miracle. Maybe it's the Call of the Forge God coming in from a push side lane, where you start seeing Singularity fall apart. But make no mistake, it has to be Singularity making the mistake and Riddle punishing it for it to actually happen. I don't see it happening with Riddle just bashing their heads against a brick wall.
Absolutely. But Riddle, you know, they want to fight in the next 1 minute 45. So it's get yourself chill, get the items you can, and get as much power as you can before that fight. Then get the vision down. Because at the moment, neither team's really got a great grip on that area. Kex's Hex Portal, actually, he's put that ward behind the Dragon Pit, is fairly nice. Maybe if they can repeat that, but it's going to be a little harder to get that vision down in the future because Singularity are now going to start leaning towards the bottom side of the map. They're wanting to get a grip in this area, wanting to get the shoves for themselves. They can shove mid out as deep as they like as well with those 2 towers down.
And what's really important for this, you know, we're talking about they want to fight at this next point before the Dragon spawns. Most of the time, you want to fight at item breaks points even when you're behind. You'd rather fight with 2 items to 2.5 items than 1.5 items to 2 items, which is exactly what's happening now. We can see that Caitlyn has just got the Collector built in. We have a Thimble Winter coming in from Gragas, and alongside the Chem Tank, that means that you have such a large tank front line. And yes, you do have 2 items on the Ornn as well, but not having a second item on your AD carry is really going to hurt Riddle coming into this next fight. They need to pick off the carries very cleanly before their damage comes to bear.
Oh, lovely scatter the week. That might just be it for MC. He ward hops out. Kex gets jumped onto, and they are going to call it off for the moment. No one wants to overextend, over-risk it, because for Singularity, this Dragon could be game-winning.
Absolutely could be. Fatchan just changed away from his optimal weapons, but then Inferno, we know what that does do if you do get that lucky crit on the end of the ultimate. Watch out for the chakrams. Watch out to see if Fatchan can stack up and start shredding through even from behind. Dragon spawning the next 15. Tension building.
Oh, Tatooine's popped out MC, so he knows where he is. They can see the 2 flankers, Ornn available. Everybody has everything other than Kex's flash. That's the only thing down right now. This is going to get real hairy. There's the scatter. That's going to be Slowkey. Force the flash. Wild Growth comes down. Polly onto Porp. Great caskets. Here comes Fatican.
Okay.
Massive damage. Dragain is annihilated, but Fatican's out of the fight. Meanwhile, Spike going low. Look at the damage from the Death Ray.
Oh, he
That's
dies.
going to be the burn with the Leandries. Jeppe falls down, but Singularity, they're not giving it up. They get the belly bop off, and now MC is trying to get a little bit of additional damage. Smites are both up for both teams. Porp is low, though. They're trying to get Fatican back. He's trying to heal up with that Vampiric Scepter, but Porp is staying in the pit. He needs to stay on this Dragon, but MC is going to make his way forward. It resets momentarily as Fatican comes in. They're targeting Porp. They miss the knockup.
Oh.
The Dragon is stolen, and Porp has to flash the wall to get away. Riddle bought themselves time.
They bought themselves a lot from that, of course. They stopped that immediate soul coming in. They get to the objective first, and the game is suddenly looking a lot more even. We have to temper our expectations. The early game was good, but Singularity can't land it in this pivotal team fight. Slowq is going to get slow. Dragain's following up.
Oh, he gets popped back, and MC's miles away from him. Dodging out on the scatter of the week. The shield comes in from MC. MC doesn't have the kick quite yet, and Slowq's trying to buy time. Here comes Fatican to try and tidy up. Stopwatch from Tatooine. Porp joining up with the rest of the team, and MC on his own gets the kick back. The flash comes out from Fatican, and MC is going to be collected. Porp will find the kill. The wind becomes lightning.
There are pings on Baron. See if there's going to be a setup from this point. Singularity, they've lost the flip at the first one, and Riddle picked off some stragglers, but can they stop Singularity going towards that other objective? There's a teleport towards that side of the map. Singularity, they say the time is now.
They have to go for it. Kex still has the Ornn. Slowq teleport will be up in 13 seconds time, so he can get out. But a great zone of traps comes down, and Nukes needs to be careful for Tatooine. Baron gonna get started up by Riddle.
So you have the trap line. No, it's not going to be the fastest Baron ever, but you don't have a smite on the other side. Slowq has to teleport back in, and that's what they're doing now. Jeppe playing solo blocker on the Karma, but this Baron is still only half HP. Singularity, I don't think they've done it quite fast enough if they want to avoid a fight.
Here it comes. The Ornn is down. The casket's too late. And there is the ultimate. Oh my word. Dragain is annihilated. It's deleted. But the Baron is still going on.
Oh, here's MC.
The ultimate. Here comes MC. The hero play. He's coming in. Riddle steals the Baron! What a play! Riddle have just flipped this game! They flipped the switch, and Singularity are annihilated from the Rift!
Singularity can't commit to the fight. They don't commit to the Baron. They choose neither, and divided they fall. They have one spark of hope, and it is snuffed at the dragon. It is stamped firmly into the ground around the Baron, and MC, the hero of the day.
His mind was telling him yes.
It was telling him yes, and it was telling him the Baron's time is now. It's such heartbreak. It's the best early game we see from Singularity, and we're going to have to see it again. Of course, we would. Call of the Forge God is not stopped. Dragain is stuck in the middle of the river, and it's just this orbital strike. Remember that actually at the end of the Call of the Forge God, you get another brittle proc.
Yep.
That is procced by the Gravitum. It absolutely annihilates Syndra. That's one important damage source down. And I just can't help but feel Singularity had too many voices going on. It looked like they wanted to block off, use the Karma to try and zone them out, but that's not the right champion to do that. They didn't commit to the Baron either, and it's just that minute hesitation which might cost them their first victory.
There was also a minor thing that happened there. MC kicked Tatooine out of the pit after they took the Baron, then kicks him out, and at that point, Porp has nothing. He doesn't have a tank to keep him alive. There's nothing he can do. Singularity, can they find that miracle? That Scatter the Weak's not going to be enough. And now they are dealing with the gold deficit for the first time in this game. It was an amazing start for Singularity. They need to find an opportunity to hold on. Soul is still on the cards for them, though. It's a long way away from Riddle.
It is, and they are looking for something. Multiple speed-ups. Bastion has no flash.
Scatter the Weak goes down. Ace in the hole blocked out by Kex. Porp trying to see if he can jump in. Can do so, but Searing Charge means Kex is going to get out of that one.
Okay, so Singularity trying to take a fight against the champions rather than deal with the Baron's siege. Singularity's power in this game has largely come from being able to push in the waves and control the vision around that. That's no longer the case. The Baron has bought Riddle so much extra advantages through the information battle. Slowkey pushing down in the mid side, going to be joined, the bot lane, going to be joined by the rest of his team, and Riddle recouping a lot of the structures which they lost early into the game as well. Singularity don't have the gold lead, they don't have the vision, they do have soul points, but they're going to have an uphill battle to claim the actual soul.
Yeah, they really are. I think if you're Singularity, you can genuinely give this one up. I don't know if you have the positioning on the map to do so. It's empowered recall, so they'll get back onto the Rift real quick. This is hard.
So when you said, Singularity can give it up, it did make me think, if it were another team, maybe I'd say, we'll trust ourselves to win a team fight later. I don't know if Singularity are going to think that. I think that Singularity have already had trouble dealing with the Ornn and dealing with the Aphelios in the team fight so far. I think that they have struggled to set up for a couple of these fights. I think that they might have to fight. I think they might have to flip, but they don't have the position to do so.
Massive thing that just happened. Fatty Katan just got his Gale Force upgraded to the Typhoon. So he is now got that little extra bit of stats just in time for the Dragon. And I think that might be enough just to put them off.
So Singularity, they do choose to give it up. The vision wasn't there. They don't want to go through the deep and terrible side of the jungle, which they had zero vision into, because one lost fight at that point could be absolutely game-breaking. Now, make no mistake, they're still within reach at this point. They're still 3,000 gold behind, which is the lead which they had, and Riddle obviously came back from that. Of course, you have comps to put into that equation too, in terms of how easy it is to come back from this, but you can see what happens when Singularity lose that front foot in the game, when they get behind the curve. This is a comp which is meant to get ahead and stay ahead.
Yeah.
They failed that first objective. Now they have to find that miracle flip. It feels like they've lost their ascendancy in this game.
Porp is going to be okay. He's got the speed up. Oh man, this is. It felt so Singularity favored, and I was like, oh, we might be in for a one-sided game. And that Baron steal has just completely flipped this.
It started at the Dragon. Went up to that Baron too, of course, that lost fight. And this is something which you can't really ever deny from Riddle as well. It doesn't matter how they've performed in a game and how many individual flubs they've made. The laning phase doesn't matter. If you turn up with these huge performances in those team fights and like this is the magical team we know them to be. Now, I've had my own complaints about Riddle in terms of why can't we see this all the time? Because if we did, I would genuinely rate this as a top 3 team if they could pull this off all the time with all the members firing in all cylinders. they're struggling against Singularity. That's not where they want to be.
Yeah.
But the fact that they could come back from that kind of deficit against that kind of competition speaks volumes about them.
Oh, they're looking for Fatigan. Already used the Typhoon to get away. The Horn comes down, and here's the turnaround. Knock up onto Tatooine. Only him able to jump out. And Singularity, they look for their pick. They used the cask. They got the Horn in response. I think they're okay with that, to be honest. They got the inside track on mid.
And what they're trying to do now is, yeah, we kind of said this last when they took out that mid-aner turret. They can just shove this wave in and walk through the jungle after that wave has been put into the inhibitor turret. It's very hard for Riddle to ignore that. In fact, they've got so much tower damage, might be able to take a mid-inhibitor themselves. Riddle, they've got the flank TP.
No, this is going to be real hairy. Spike gets kicked onto. There's the kickback. They're going to get all the damage onto Dragain. He gets the scatter the weak, but the polymorph's going to shut him down. It's a 1-for-1 so far. But Porp uses the Crescent Guard to disengage. The flash out. Tatooine belly bops forward, and now he's put himself in a hairy position because he's caught in place with that Gravitum. Slow Q with a laser beam, slowing down the bot lane. And this is going to be the end of Tatooine. Another kill will be gifted over as Fatigan cashes in. The laser beam chunks out Jeppe, and Singularity fall down to just 3 members standing.
That is the danger of pushing too fast. Now, you might think, wow, pushing fast is a really great thing. Well, yeah, not if you're pushing over vision. They go way too far beyond where they set up their safe vision line. They hadn't cleared all of it out, and now Riddle find themselves, of course, with a great ability to head towards that Baron. I'm not sure which weapons the Aphelios is in right now, but I mean, you don't have that Syndra currently on the map. Caitlyn just showed bot side, and Jeppe is being zoned off by Kex. Seems like an absolutely free objective for them. Riddle, just like dominoes, stacking these objectives up.
And I was going to say Porp needs an MC moment here, but he is on the other side of the map. MC's up, and MC will be able to secure the second Baron for the team.
Yeah, stole the wall. It's not
Riddle.
quite the same.
Oh, this is crumbling for Singularity.
It's crumbling.
What a kick.
It's a great kick. He does die for it, but then you realize, hang on, wait, isn't the only damage source at that point a collector Caitlyn? That's not going to do enough against your Ornn. Ornn can hold up that front line. We saw a Caitlyn game earlier, obviously, where you had like the mortal reminder second. You think, okay, right, Ornn stuck in front of that, doesn't really want to be there. And you can see that Spikey has only just built up that last Whisper. Not really at the pinnacle of their power. Tried to spike early, and Singularity, of course, got kicked off of that ascendancy. So now Riddle have themselves an even more dominant lead. They get to, once again, push into the other side of the map. Singularity don't have nearly the same level of flanked threat which Riddle have with their teleports and the Lee Sin and the like. So they have to find a way to survive this push at the very least.
Oh, Porp's had to pop the ultimate, but he's going to jump into MC. Dragain, scatter the weak, needs to be big. Only lands onto Kex. Katui decides to call it there. They're going to step away. They're going to call it.
Going to call it, and it just feels like every time the Baron is on the table, Singularity they have to eat it. They don't have to sit there. They have to take the punches and wait until it times out. Slow Q at this point on 3.5 items. This Victor is ready to 1v5 if he's the one being dove onto as well. Very happy to push on solo. Level 17, 2 levels up out of nowhere versus the Syndra. Then get so much solo farm and solo XP. Riddle have lots of points of power to play around now.
Yeah, Dragain hasn't even got max points in ultimate. Kex zoning on Horn just to zone Singularity off this tower as it goes down. Tatooine maybe seeing if he can find an opportunity, but the Glitter Lance is going to slow him, and he just can't get in range to find that belly bop. Can't find that cask. An MC with a big wave able to shove into this inhibitor tower, take that down. The inhibs do remain for a while longer, but this is a very open base in Singularities.
And for so often, in the last couple of years, we've seen multi-lane pushes of the Baron be shut down by something like a Rise, something like a Twisted Fate, something like even like a Galio if you go a little bit further back. But Singularity don't have the ability to defend either of those lanes. I really love that Ornn Horn. It secures the push. It secures the 4-man unit of Riddle and means that the solo pusher of MC this time gets to take another advantage somewhere else on one of these lanes. Riddle being very clinical with the way that they've managed to play out with their advantage and in the way that Singularity, unfortunately for them, couldn't do.
There's obviously issues here. There's obviously communication issues. I think that Baron, you know, they got scattered, and it seems like team fighting seems to be a real weakness for Singularity at the moment.
Yes, I think that's definitely something you have to go towards, and all eyes will inevitably be on that Pioneer game. Now, I honestly think that it came down to a second or two of hesitation.
Yeah.
And it is so easy to say there are problems because it leads to fantastical plays like that and catastrophic losses, but honestly, I feel so bad for them because it feels like it's such a small mistake which explodes out of control.
Yes.
That's the level of punishing play that we see in the NLC. We've heard it so much in the early weeks. Quickseth from Veneer was also saying, like, look, it's really hard to play in this league when you make mistakes. Teams punish so quickly. In Singularity, they've discovered that firsthand yet again this game.
Unfortunately, they have, as MC just can take a little bit of light combo. He's got the Guardian Angel, though, so he feels pretty comfortable to be able to go out. As there's the ultimate from Slow Q, just to chunk Porp to half HP. Still got that Crescent Guard available, so feels a little bit comfortable to hang around still. As in goes the Moonlight Vigil through the goalpost, so not going to hand, and Porp actually jumps in, gets himself a light heal from his Gore Drinker. A while until both Baron and Dragon come up, so Riddle are just trying to see if they can get the siege on. They do have a fantastic amount of range to work with.
They do, and what I love what Riddle are doing is kind of like, we saw this a little bit when Udo was in meta, just send your jungler to go split push. They have mobility, they're safe, they've got a GA. There is a teleport flank coming in from the Syndra because Lee Sin's done that, but they just get to disengage. There's no hard engage. They don't get to land anything, and Riddle walk away none the worse for wear.
It's so impossible to go through such small chokeholds when the gravity field exists. It just completely shuts you down, and Kex looking for the overstep, and Slow Q is just gonna pop Jeppe. We commended him for his early aggression, and MC's coming in on the flank.
Oh, look at the kick!
What a kick! The Chaos Storm will cook everyone, and MC cashes in on the kill. The cask is too little. It's too late. The belly bop's big, but MC has a GA. He has the Gore Drinker, and Dragain gets a great scatter to hold his life, but he has no team. He has no one, and he is taken down by Fatikan as he will fall. The death timers are too long, and Riddle have just flipped this game. It was a catastrophic start for them, but what a turnaround. What a save. Riddle coming up huge.
It was a smite which broke the heart for Singularity. It was a kick which broke their spine to just bent them over the knee. Just broke their spine on top of it. And Riddle, it does feel like they gave themselves a hard job, but what a way to show that you can make your way out of the abyss.
Yeah, I mean, I've got so many questions because Singularity looked good. They did look good. I don't think anybody could say, you know, because we were talking a little bit like, yeah, Riddle, you know, it was a bit worrying that they were struggling versus Singularity, but I obviously there is that, but at the same time, it was like, wow, this is a very new Riddle. And then it just turned into old Riddle. No, Singularity. It turned into old Singularity as we move later in. MC, a true hero today. I've been singing the praises of Gragas's, I've been singing the praises of supports, but that was just MC showing off on the Lee Sin.
100%. And it's great to see that we have this level of playmaking, and Riddle will clutch onto that win very valuably after that point. It was hard-earned.
Absolutely. Well, grab a cuppa because it's time for a break. We're back with Arkaram and some interviews after that, so we'll see you in a moment.
And we are back after a game of Singularity versus Riddle. Singularity seemed like they were going to take the game. The first one on the split getting so close until the day MC said no. And he stole the Baron and he got the game just right after one battle. Obviously, there's more to this game than meets the eye, and that's why I want to make the interviews. I want to talk with the players. And we're going to start with Riddle, with SlowQ, mid laner, coming in with the victor. Hello, SlowQ.
Hello.
Hello, okay. Congratulations on the victory. This was a tough game. I want you to guide me through it. So tell me about the champion select, because on the Singularity side, they had pretty much every single lane priority. On you guys, you were playing for the late game. So what was the game plan?
We just look for scaling comp, and yeah.
Just
nothing more.
scale up, yeah. At the beginning of the game, though, I noticed that MC was kind of AFK, not getting a lot for the lanes. Were you guys hoping that you would clutch in the jungle, like in the objectives? Or what was happening with the MC, Lee said?
I mean, he couldn't really do much early game, so yeah.
Then, but then the Baron steal. Tell me about that. The Baron steal. How did the team feel after that Baron steal? Because I think that was at the time where the team pretty much got the game back.
Yeah, I mean, MC clutched it, and we were happy after.
Okay, tell me something. Now, for you, okay, how do you feel about playing with this team, Riddle? How are you feeling?
I feel good. I don't know what to say.
No problem, so cute. I got you, man. Well, congratulations on the victory. It was an amazing game, really exciting. I hope to get to know you more, like do more interviews with you, and I hope to see you in the future, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
See ya.
Yeah.
There we go. We finally were able to meet SlowQ. It's always good to have new faces, to meet the entire team, and to get those questions, try to feel how they're feeling on the team and how the team is feeling, like the mentality and all that. It's really good from Riddle to take that game away as well. But on the other side, I want to talk with Singularity. I mean, I was a heavy believer that this would be the game. Pop, I know you're with me right now. There you go. It's Pop. I felt it. I was like, today's the day. Singularity is going to take it. Okay, you guys drafted in for the early game. In my opinion, probably one of the best drafts you ever got. The early game was smooth as butter. Did you feel the same way at the beginning of the game?
Yeah, I think, I mean, this roster of 5 is a little bit new. So this kind of speaks a lot of the kind of comfort we have at the moment, and I think we executed well. It's just, yeah, I mean, we messed up in the details towards the end. That really sucks, but still pretty happy with how clean the execution was on the early. And now we just have to figure out how to explode enemy nexus, and then we'll get some wins under our belt.
Let's be honest. You were clean on the objectives in the early game. 3 dragons at 17 minutes, getting all the scuttles, getting the buffs as well, and a lot of pressure on the game. You really felt comfortable throughout the beginning of the game. I think that the team is getting more comfortable, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, having like 3 winning lanes makes it a lot easier to get dragons and Rift Heralds. So definitely kudos to. I mean, I think these are some of our only our first solo kills. So I think everybody's kind of getting better, except for maybe me. Maybe I'm getting a little bit worse, but hopefully I'll improve with my teammates later on.
I mean, Pop, come on. I know it's tough to talk about it, and the Baron play was the play, in my opinion. They got a lot of economy back, obviously. But before that, Pop, let's level, man. You did a really good job in the jungle. MC was kind of AFK while he was just smoothly stealing everything away. So let's not be too rough on you, man, because you got a good game and you made one mistake. And it happens, like, it's a 50-50, Lee Sin with a percentage Sonic Wave as well. It's a tough one, obviously, but I want to go back into the coach. So you have a new coach, and obviously on Monday it didn't work as the coach wanted, the champion select and all that. Do you feel comfortable with the coach now? Because today it seemed like a different Singularity.
Yeah, I mean, Soft, who's our coach now, he's been handling much of the drafting for like most of the split anyway. It's just about like, yeah, on Monday it was a bit of like everybody kind of griefing at the same time. We were just really messy. The timer hit 0 and we didn't know what to pick. So I just kind of locked in Italy because that's what I would pick in solo queue. But obviously it wasn't the best choice. But yeah, I think Soft is doing a great job, and I think in general everybody is slowly like showing huge improvements. Yeah, we're just not able to get the win in the end, but I'm sure those
It's a new day, it's a new dawn, it's a new life, it's a new Singularity. Let's see what happens in the future, man. Do you want to say anything for the fans of Singularity out there?
Yeah, for the 2 fans of Singularity out there, I'd like to say...
I'm listening, so yeah. Make that 3. Make that 3. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. For the 3, including Nightmare, I'll say the wins are going to come, and they're going to be spicy. And yeah, just because we're getting closer to winning doesn't mean these Iverns and these Master Yis are done yet. So they'll come out soon.
Okay, that's what I want to listen, man. You got me. Thank you so much for the interview, Pop. I'll see you soon again. Let's get that W, man. Thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you, man.
Obviously, it is rough, man. Singularity was so close for the first victory of the split, but just couldn't make it out of a single play, and then the Riddle come back. But we are certainly going to come back to you guys because we still have one more game on the bag. It is the last game of the day. It is X7. It is Nuriki. It's time to see if X7 are going to be undefeated on this part of the split, or if something is going to happen like a miracle for Nuriki. I'll see you soon, and we'll talk about that right after the break.